I wasn't going to go. How you doing, Grandmaster Kissling? I wasn't going to go live tonight. I was going to actually watch a movie or something while I worked out, but this is going to be a workout rant live video stream. Some things I got to get off my chest. So I'll be doing a little ranting. Good morning, you too, sir. So I'm going to start off with the bat, since Grandmaster Kissling is on here, and I respect him immensely, and he's one of my inspirations in martial arts. Now, for all you who are friends of Victor Moore, who are mutual friends of mine, okay, I completely understand. If you find this offensive, all right, if you want to unfriend me afterwards, it's fine. But I'm not going to allow him to keep spewing his lies and people keep drinking his Kool-Aid. This is ridiculous at this point. It's bad enough that he wants to spread his lies about beating Bruce Lee and that Bruce Lee never beat him in that speed test, when there's actual footage that, yeah, he did. Bruce Lee did beat him. Victor Moore had no chance. He stood no chance. But now Victor Moore is telling people, because he was on that YouTube channel I like to watch, the guy's Viking Samurai, saying that he was a made man with La Cosa Nostra. Now, this is not me defending the mafia whatsoever. This is nothing but criminals and murderers. They are a horrible representation for Italian Americans. But in the same respect, you don't see us Italian Americans going off claiming to be made members of a Zulu nation or something like that. Okay? Now, anybody who's going to drink that Kool-Aid and believe that Victor Moore was a made man with the mafia, you will believe if Victor Moore says he can walk on water. And it's ridiculous at this point that people are still believing this guy's lies. And also, he calls himself Grandmaster Victor Moore. I thought Japanese martial arts didn't use the word Grandmaster. He likes to piss all over Korean martial arts all the time, and Korean stylists. But then he wants to use our titles, right? Whatever. But like I said, this is going to be me ranting about a whole bunch of things this morning. But at the same time, we got to do work, right? So any of you that are mutual friends of mine who are also friends with Victor Moore, I respect you guys. Otherwise, I wouldn't be friends with you. Okay. And I'm not trying to give ultimatums. I wouldn't do that. Be friends with who you want. But for those of you who, entertain Victor Moore and let him spout his lies, and you don't call him out on it, I'm sorry, but it makes you just as guilty. And it doesn't go just for Victor Moore, it goes for Frank Dukes or anybody else, okay, who tells these outlandish stories with nothing to back it up. And the sick thing with Victor Moore is there's video proof of him losing the Bruce Lee speed test. I've seen the whole thing. He says, oh, well, there's footage that they edited out. I've seen the whole entire footage. Okay? Vic Moore, you lost. to Bruce Lee. And you're also on this Viking Samurai saying that you sparred Bruce Lee. You never sparred him. Stop it. Stop it. And if you did, you know he whipped that ass. You know he did. So stop it. Just stop already. Okay? I don't understand why people need to embellish and exaggerate their own lives. What is the point of that? What are you, by lying to people, what are you gaining out of it? It makes no sense. Especially when you tell your outlandish stories that are just so out there. People know they're lies. Some people are nicer than me. So, they don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. So it's, oh, well, that's just how he is. Well, then you're just as guilty as Vic Moore. Because there's young, impressionable people that will believe that nonsense. Okay? Now, I've talked to some of the guys from the old days, of the blood and guts glories days, okay? And they've said the same thing. Vic Moore, they love him to death. But he lies or he embellishes and exaggerates the truth immensely, okay? I'm not going to mention names, okay? So you can sit here and say, oh, well, you're not giving us names, so you're not telling me, you're not telling us the truth. You're lying about it. No, okay. You believe what you want. I know what I've heard by talking to these gentlemen, all right? So please stop. It's just as bad. I mean, I don't know. I don't know who's worse. Vic Moore, Frank Dukes, or Chris Garland. Okay, I don't know who's worse. Their stories are always so out there and ridiculous and obvious lies, and that people will still eat into it. I just don't understand. Excuse me if I lived a life which is boring. That wasn't some special forces in the military or some deep underground fighting champion. Or I didn't supposedly beat all the top guys. Okay? Stop it. Stop it. If your life is that pathetic that you have to embellish it, well then, you know what? Change it. Do something about it. Now, that being said, I mean, I have no dog in the fight as far as Vic Moore is concerned. I'm not a Japanese stylist. I obviously don't hang in the same circles as him. So, as far as his lies are concerned, I couldn't care less, really. You guys want to continue to let him perpetuate his outlandish lies and stories? Well, you're not doing the youth that I believe in any justice. And you're not doing Vic Moore any justice either. You should be trying to get him some help. Okay? Because what they always say, there's their truth, your truth, and the truth, right? Some people, well, I know you are, Grandmaster Kissling. I know that. I know you. I'm not saying that everybody who says that is not. I know you are. I know Grandmaster Michael Rhodes, definitely airborne ranger. I mean, these are facts that can be proven. But there's just so many out there who are lying about it. Hal Whalen, for one, lies about being ex-special forces. Chris Garland, please, lies about training law enforcement when he was in high school. Are you kidding me? And he lies about being law enforcement. Now, again, as far as Vic Moore is concerned and his military career, I have no idea. I couldn't care less. But just stop lying about beating Bruce Lee. You didn't beat Bruce Lee in anything. You, Vic Moore, just ain't good enough. You're not. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not good enough to beat a lot of martial arts. Grandmaster Kissling for one. Okay? I'm not ashamed to say it. You know, I mean, it's just very convenient for people to say these things when the other person's dead and can't defend himself. I don't know why Vic Moore didn't come out with these stories while Bruce Lee was still alive. When the other real champions with actual proof, with video proof, you can see him. I mean, Grandmaster Kissling would know every single one of them I'm talking about. You would know them personally, sir. I know it. I'm not going to mention names. They've all said the same thing about Vic Moore. They love him to death. They love him to death, but he lies or he embellishes and exaggerates the story to a whole different level. Okay? And this is coming from his own peers. Okay? I'm not going to mention no names. So nobody better even bother trying to ask me. But Grandmaster Kissling, I know you know every one of them, personally. Now, I understand a lot of people, I used to be that way. Like, oh, well, I know this person's lying, but I'm not going to call him out on it because, you know, really, it doesn't affect me, you know, personally. So, and I don't like to hurt people's feelings. I don't like to make people get embarrassed in front of people. No. I learned, you got to learn to pick a side. You're either going to pick a side that's right or it's wrong. And again, you can say, well, that depends on whose perspective, right? If you're lying, that's wrong. If you tell the truth, that's right. I mean, there's only two sides here. You got to pick a side. And it's not that us old timers wasn't going to be affected by it. It's by the younger generation coming up that's going to listen to these outlandish stories and believe this bullshit. Those are the ones I'm watching out for. Bruce Lee was never a champion. We all know that. But you cannot look at that man's technique. You can't. You intellectually cannot look at that man's technique and not say that he wasn't good. You cannot say that. I'm sorry. Bruce Lee's technique was impeccable. It was too sweet. Bottom line. There is no going around it. You cannot sit there and look at that man, the way he moved, his speed, and the way he could demonstrate power. You cannot sit there and look at him and say, oh, well, he can't fight. I'm sorry. If you're going to say that, you're being intellectually dishonest. Period. Period. I'm not saying he's the best in the world. By all means, I'm not saying that. The best in the world, we don't know who they are. You know why? Because the best in the world know they're the best and feel no need to prove it. You'll never see them in the ring or the octagon because they know they're the best, and they don't have no desire to prove it. Like my father, who was big into powerlifting. Thank you, sir. Like my father, who's big into powerlifting. He always says the powerlifting competitions are bullshit. Because he says this is the strongest man in the world. No, he's the one that won that competition, and with those statistics in that competition, they just assume that he's the one right there who's the strongest in the world. The strongest people in the world, you're not gonna know who they are, because they probably live in really poor countries, and they don't even think about demonstrating their strength. Okay, so everything is, you gotta understand, all competition is. I can't think of the word right now. If I said the word, you'd understand what I mean. Okay, but the best in the world, the best fighters in the world, the best martial artists in the world, we're never gonna know who they are because they don't need to compete. They know they're the best. And they have no desire to do it. Ugh. I hate when I go my rants, but exactly, yes. Bruce Lee's training, especially for his time, was way advanced, way ahead of the times. Okay, so even his conditioning alone, by his conditioning alone, you can't sit there and say, "Oh, the man can't fight." I'm sorry, you're being intellectually dishonest, or you're letting your ego get in the way. This is what I get for going on social media before starting my workout. I was going to listen to music or watch a movie, have a nice little relaxed workout, and I got all fired up. Last time someone told me I was full of shit, said put up 50,000 and the winner will take all. And I know that I would. Of course you would. And you notice the person told you to put up the 50,000. You don't see them saying they put up the 50,000, right? Of course. Now, as far as Frank Dukes is concerned, look, I'm not saying I believe it. I'm not saying I don't believe it. I mean, all I can say is it made a great movie. He wrote one hell of a movie script. That's for sure. Okay? And let's face it, I don't think Frank Dukes meant it as a documentary. But there's been too much coming out that he's BS too. But, again, I've seen older footage of him. You can't say that the man didn't have skill. The man definitely had skill. I'm not saying Vic Moore didn't have skill. I'll be honest with you, I saw a lot of his old stuff back in the 70s and stuff. I wasn't thoroughly impressed. But, I mean, it's probably better than a lot of stuff we'll see today. But all you got to do is, you're comparing apples to oranges. All you got to do is look at Bruce Lee's skill. Intellectually look at it. Take out the stardom, take out his arrogance, put all that to the side. Go intellectually. Look at his skill and look at Vic Moore's skill back in those days. Okay? You see, there's no comparison. Bruce Lee was just light years ahead of him. Light years. And that's nothing to be ashamed of. I don't know why people feel they have to feel ashamed that they can't say that they're better than this person, better than that person. I can say that all day long. I know I was never as good as you, Grandmaster Kissling. I know I'm never as good as Bill Superfoot Wallace, Bruce Lee, Joe Louis. Any of those guys, a lot of people today, Wonder Boy, Stephen Wonder Boy Thompson, Raymond Daniels, these guys would all toast me. They'd all smoke me. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Even local guys around here, Master David Wright here in North Carolina, would smoke me. Okay? I have no issue. I have no issue admitting that. Doesn't make me less of a man. Doesn't make anybody less of a man or less of a person. Okay? It just makes you try to train harder and be better. That's all it's supposed to do. That's why I try to tell my students, there's no such thing as a loss, really. You win or you learn something. I really don't believe in the word loss. When I was younger, sure, I was full of piss and vinegar. Who wasn't? Okay? And I had that mentality, first place, I gotta have first place, But the thing was, I think the reason I was so successful when I competed was because it wasn't life or death to me. It was always fun for me. So of course, I always wanted to win first place. But I didn't win. I didn't break down and think I was a piece of shit. It was like, oh well. That's why I think I always at least placed in tournaments. Yeah, I've won grand champion in tournaments about 5 times. Okay? Just, nothing national. Just local tournaments. I got no national championships, no record in that sense. Whatever. I don't care about that. Now, people will say, oh, well, you ain't a real fighter. I never claimed to be a pro fighter by any means. I've never claimed that. But there's plenty of people I've fought in the strength when I was in my younger days that would tell you, yeah, I can hold my own. I never complained. Never ever said I was Tommy Tough Nuts by any means. And now back to something earlier that I posted on Facebook. Now, I'm not saying I could beat Mike Tyson. There's no way in hell. I already know I couldn't beat Mike Tyson. But I used to be a Mike Tyson nut hugger. I did. I used to say the same things like, oh, I don't care who the UFC champion of the world is. A prime Tyson would beat any of them. But I started looking at it more intellectually and more logically in the last 6 months, a year. And watching the different tools that these elite fighters have, even as opposed to Mike Tyson's best year. I honestly, Tyson wouldn't have stood a chance. You put a prime Tyson, not in the boxing ring now. The boxing ring is totally different. Boxing, Tyson would win it all, every time, of course. But you put a prime Tyson, say in the octagon, give him 6 months or a year to even train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or whatever. Give him a year to do that even. I'm sorry, but against guys like Brock Lesnar, a prime Kurt Angle, with their experience of grappling and stuff, or any of the top heavyweight fighters today in UFC, Tyson would get smoked. I'm sorry, he would get smoked. Yeah, I know, I've heard the whole thing before. We've all heard it. Oh, everybody's got a plan to get punched in the face. Mike Tyson. Yeah, everybody's got a plan to punch you in the face until you get rear naked choked and you're on your back getting choked out. Eric P. Leno. Okay, there's just too many tools that Tyson did not have. Have you ever seen a collegiate, like a top wrestling athlete, how fast, or a high-ranking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu technician? Do you see how fast they shoot in on you? Have you seen how fast they do that? It's insane. There's no way Tyson wouldn't stood a chance. Even if you gave him a year of training Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu along with his boxing, it wouldn't have been enough. It wouldn't have been enough. Now, it would have been something Tyson would have started off as a kid like he did with boxing. Well, yeah, heck yeah. I'd put him up there. But with just his boxing skills, no, I'm sorry. It just wouldn't happen. I'm looking at things more intellectually honest now these days. I'm done with the nut hugging. I was one of Chris Garland's nut huggers until I found out the truth about him. From suffering it personally. Okay? I'm done with nut hugging people. I look at things intellectually honest now. I try to look at things logically, not with emotion. No offense, ladies, but that's how you look at things, emotionally. Men, we look at things logically. And like I said before, I don't like to speak ill of the dead. Okay, I don't. Bruce Lee was supposed to be lead actor in the series of Kung Fu. Yeah, that's right. But Hollywood gave David Carradine because Bruce Lee looked too much. He was too Chinese looking. Well, Kwai Chang Kang is supposed to be Chinese. But just the racism that was in Hollywood back in the day. Now it's just totally reversed today in Hollywood. Now that it's racist towards whites, which most white people like myself We don't care about that. Whatever. You want to be racist, you want to hate me because of my skin color, whatever. Whatever floats your boat. That doesn't affect my sleep whatsoever. But Judo Gene LaBelle was another one. And God rest his soul, I'm not speaking bad about him. Because God knows the man, when he was alive, could have choked me out easily. Okay? But he was another one. Making claims about beating Bruce Lee. So that never happened. They trained together, yeah, but he never beat Bruce Lee in anything. Okay? He was Bruce Lee's stuntman. One of the stuntmen on the show, The Green Hornet. Okay? It's like, and Gene LaBelle would talk good about him until after Bruce Lee dies, then he wants to come out and say stuff like this. It makes no sense. Like, why you want to say stuff about somebody when they no longer live and they can't defend themselves? Now you give it a few years. Give it a few years. I wouldn't doubt it. I'm willing to bet dollars and donuts. You'll have people coming out talking smack on Gene LaBelle. The man just passed away last year, so it's still fresh. So people still at least try to have that modicum of respect. You give it a few more years, there'll be people come out talking smack against him. You watch. And I thought as martial artists, we're all supposed to raise each other up. Thank you. Exactly. No proof. Now, if you show me video and Gene LaBelle's whipping Bruce Lee's ass, okay, then it happened. Same with Vic Moore. The supposed sparring video. As he said, there was cameras there. There's video out there somewhere. Well, it's amazing to me after 40 plus years. I mean, Bruce Lee died before I was born. That this video still hasn't been able to surface somewhere. So, I mean, again, Vic Moore is outlandish. You know, I'm sure he's a sweetheart of a guy. You watch his interviews, he's very charismatic. He talks very soft, he's very soft-spoken. Whereas opposed to me, I'm very loud and boisterous. Okay, so my personality, I'm a bella figura. I don't deny that. But I'm sure he's a sweetheart of a guy. But he's got to stop with these lies. See, I have no respect for him. I came to like him because first of all, I never got a chance to meet him personally. But it's first impressions are everything. And everything I've seen of him online, bad first impression. Nothing but lies. There's video of Bruce Lee beating him in the speed test. That video exists. That's real. You cannot dispute that. And it kills me that that Vic Moore has his nut huggers that dispute it. Say, oh, he didn't win. What are you talking about? Bruce Lee's re-chambering his hand before Vic Moore even gets what was he doing with the fingers? I have no idea what this is. Maybe it's a different type of peace sign. I don't know. Okay? But this video, you can't dispute it. And I've seen the whole video. Like I said, Vic Moore, I mean, compared to a lot of the people we see today, because unfortunately people can't teach today like they used to be able to teach back then because of parents getting, uproar. Like they bring their kids to martial arts class for the children to learn respect and discipline. But then when you try to give it to them, the parents are ready to sue you in a hot second. So a lot of times I feel bad, and that's why I try not to use that word McDojo too much, because a lot of times the instructor's hands are tied behind the back. They have a business to run. They got to pay the bills. They got to pay the bills. And they try to teach them the kids the right way. The parents come, oh, you're too hard on my kids. It's okay. People hate and badmouth me and don't know me and never met me. Exactly. Well, that's just jealousy. That's just jealousy. I mean, I expect that. I expect people to be jealous of Bruce Lee. It's just human nature. I'm not saying it's right, but, it's expected. But don't make up lies. Especially when there's video proof disputing and contradicting your lies. That's the thing. This makes no sense to me. It's like, I don't know how he thought he was going to get away with that. But as I was saying, I understand a lot of instructors can't teach today to make these kids, much better than what they are at their ranks, because you got mom and dad, soccer moms, oh, you're too rough on little Jimmy. You're too rough on little Susie. And they got bills, the instructors got to pay, got bills to pay, got to keep the lights on. So, I understand why the kids aren't trained as hard as they were back in our days. I get it, So when I say Vic Moore compared to a lot of the guys today, yeah, he was good. But back then, compared to those guys, like Bill Superfoot Wallace, Joe Louis, Bruce Lee, those guys, he wasn't even in the same league as them. I'm sorry, he just wasn't. I mean, Jim Harrison knocked his ass out. I saw that. That's funny, that's the only full contact fight you can find in Vic Moore. Vic Moore likes to say he was a kickboxing champion. No, he wasn't. You got one fight that's on video, one, against Jim Harrison, and you got your ass knocked out. So where's your championship fight that you won? Come on, man. I was born tonight, but not last night. And then Vic Moore likes to make up stories that the Korean martial artists, the Korean stylists, would cheat in the tournaments, especially the promoters of tournaments. Man, every promoter was doing that back in those days to where it benefited their school. So don't just put that on the Korean stylists. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying you're being very one-sided.